In Arizona, uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist coverages are created by statute. Every auto insurer issuing policies in Arizona must offer these protections. However, you may decline them when you apply. Given the prevalence of uninsured drivers on Arizona's roads and the state's minimum liability limits of $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident, purchasing and UIM at limits equal to your liability coverage is a no-brainer. Why you shouldn't waive UIM coverage. High number of uninsured drivers. Many motorists on Arizona freeways and roadways lack any liability insurance. Low liability limits. At $25,000, $50,000, most policies fall short of covering serious injuries. Judgment-proof drivers. Even if you obtain a judgment, an uninsured or underinsured driver often has no assets to satisfy it. Arizona law makes clear that and UIM are separate coverages, each governed by its own rules. These illustrations demonstrate how they operate in practice. The uninsured impact one afternoon. Driver A is stopped at a red light when her vehicle jolts forward from a rear-end collision. She steps out only to learn that driver B carries no liability insurance. Faced with $10,000 in medical bills and lost wages, driver A turns to her uninsured motorist coverage. After documenting the accident, proving fault, and confirming driver B's lack of insurance, her carrier steps in, paying up to her $25,000 per person limit so she doesn't have to cover the costs herself. When limits fall short. On another busy freeway, driver A is struck from behind by driver B, whose policy limit is the state minimum of $25,000 per person. Driver A's medical expenses and lost earnings total $20,000, but the fair value of her injury claim is $45,000. Arizona law lets driver A stack her underinsured motorist limits. However, her UIM carrier receives a $25,000 credit for what driver B's insurer already paid. Ultimately, driver A collects $25,000 from driver B's carrier and an additional $20,000 from her own UIM policy to reach full compensation. MedPay versus uninsured benefits. After her rear-end collision, driver A faces $10,000 in medical bills. She immediately taps her $5,000 MedPay coverage for treatment, but driver B refuses to provide any insurance information. With mounting expenses and no insurer to negotiate with, driver A files suit against him. Midway through discovery, her attorney uncovers that driver B carries no liability insurance. Driver A then notifies her carrier, which agrees to step in, subject to two statutory conditions. MedPay offset. The carrier subtracts the $5,000 already paid under MedPay from any benefits. Subrogation rights. The carrier steps into driver A's shoes and gains the right to pursue driver B directly for the benefits it pays. MedPay and underinsured motorist, no strings attached. The same facts as Hypo 3 apply, except driver B's policy limit is $25,000. After driver A collects that payment and taps her coverage for the remaining $20,000 of her $45,000 claim, two key differences arise. Her carrier cannot offset MedPay, nor can it subrogate against driver B. Driver A walks away with her full $45,000, free of any clawbacks. Visiting from out-of-state driver A California resident insured under a California policy, is rear-ended while visiting Arizona. Driver B's Arizona policy pays its $25,000 limit, and driver A has $25,000 in California UIM coverage. However, California law prohibits stacking. As a result, driver A recovers only $25,000 total, unless she purchased higher UIM limits in California, in which case the excess would apply. When reviewing these scenarios, keep the following key takeaways in mind. Whether or UIM, proof is paramount. You must demonstrate fault, damages, and causation, just like a liability claim. And for confirm the other driver had no insurance or that a phantom vehicle caused the crash. Stacking versus credits. Arizona allows stacking of UIM limits but gives carriers credit for payments by the at-fault insurer. MedPay offsets subrogation. carriers can offset MedPay and subrogate, UIM carriers cannot. Choice of law matters. If you're insured out of state, your home state rules may limit stacking or permit offsets that Arizona wouldn't. Higher limits are cheap peace of mind. Increasing UIM above the state minimum adds minimal premium cost but can mean the difference between full recovery and an uncovered shortfall. Frequently asked questions. What's the difference between uninsured motorist, UM, and underinsured motorist, UIM coverage? UM applies when the at-fault driver carries no liability insurance, whereas UIM applies when the at-fault driver's liability limits are too low to fully compensate your injury claim. Can I waive UM-UIM coverage in Arizona? Yes. Insurers must offer both UM and UIM, but you may sign a waiver to reject them, though we strongly advise keeping these protections since the extra premium is minimal compared to the potential benefits. What UM and UIM limits should I get? You should match your UM and UIM limits to your liability limits. For example, if your liability is $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident, carry those same limits for UM and UIM to ensure full protection. Will MedPay or my health insurance cover all my losses? MedPay and health insurance can cover medical bills, but neither pays wage losses or non-economic damages, pain and suffering, emotional distress, etc. So UM-UIM is necessary to fill those gaps. How does stacking of UIM limits work in Arizona? Arizona law allows you to stack multiple UIM policies to increase your available coverage, but your UIM carrier receives a credit for any amounts paid by the at-fault driver's liability insurer. How do MedPay offsets and subrogation rights differ between UM and UIM? Under UM, your carrier can offset any MedPay payments against UM benefits and has subrogation rights against the at-fault driver. Under UIM, the carrier cannot offset MedPay nor subrogate against the at-fault driver. What if I'm injured in Arizona, but my policy is issued in another state? Your home state insurance law typically controls under choice of law principles. Some states prohibit stacking or allow offsets that Arizona law wouldn't, so your available UM-UIM benefits may vary. Contact Chandler Injury Lawyer. If you've been injured in Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, Tempe, or anywhere in Arizona, contact Chandler Injury Lawyer Paul Ticen for a free consultation. We provide low-volume, high-attention representation so you receive the personalized guidance your case deserves.